everybody out there, you Raven fans and you Oriole fans, thank you for joining us this week on the Ravenry Sports Podcast for fans like me. Like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Right now, if you're watching this live, you're watching this on our YouTube page or on our Twitch page. Absolutely. It's going to be uploaded on Twitter, Facebook, etc. You're going to see all those on those platforms as well. So definitely check that out as well. All of our platforms as well. So Genesis Notary Services is the business here in the Winchester, Virginia area. I did have to move the live stream back to the 26th. That'll be Sunday. So we didn't do it Monday or Tuesday. We're going to do it Sunday around 1 o'clock. We're going to talk about Genesis Notary Services, and we're going to go ahead and do that. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Definitely check that out. Genesis Notary Services at Facebook.com as well. Definitely. Harris Legal Shield is the business. Definitely, if you are looking for legal aid, insurance, and things like that, let me tell you something. Lawyers are expensive. Finding that out, only your business. Anybody who owns a business knows how expensive it is to call a lawyer. You can call Harris Legal Shield right today. Call the number that's on our Facebook page right there, and we will get you hooked up with great value on your legal needs, especially if people owe you money, if you need a letter done, if you need a will done, especially you parents. Definitely get the tremendous value with Legal Shield. We'll be happy to get that for you. Harris Legal Shield as well. RavenrySports.company.site. You can go on our website there right now. You can go ahead and get Lamar jerseys, Adley jerseys, Oriole hats. We're going to have here definitely all that's available for you. RavenrySports@gmail.com. If you don't see it, we can get it. I did have Facebook Marketplace. I'm taking some of that stuff down. So, because we're kind of restocking that here, getting that squared away. So, definitely check that out. We can definitely get that squared away for you. All right. And one other thing here, a couple other things. MLB preseason predictions is coming on March 23rd, 2025. We are going to have our Super Bowl Sunday stream at 4 o'clock on Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, we are still going to talk about the Super Bowl, even though we didn't get the result we wanted with the Ravens there. So definitely we can go ahead and check that out there as well. All right, lot to get to today, even though this is it. The last Ravens game. Now we are in off season for the Ravens and the Orioles as well. From a football game itself standpoint, it was outstanding stuff. It really was. I thought the game itself was good. We didn't get the result we wanted, but the game was outstanding. You ever watch the movie Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx? LL Cool J really made that movie for me. I mean, he really looked like an NFL fullback in that movie. A lot of great actors, and they say it's a game of inches. Every break of the game, every step, every minute, fight, crawl for that inch. That's always something that stayed with me in football. And that's exactly what you saw on Sunday. So, let's go over the box score. 18 for 25, Lamar, 254, 2 TDs, 1 interception. He did have a fumble. I thought it was decent. Bad first half. I wouldn't even say a bad first half. Bad couple plays, but I thought he wasn't the reason they lost the game. I do think critical error as well. He does not play as well in cold weather. That's just true. When these temperatures get to 0 and 1 degrees and all that, Lamar isn't the guy that plays as well. His style of play kind of holds on to it. Ball set. I think it's a little bit. However, he was as good as I've seen him for 2 games in the playoffs so far. So that's good. So he clearly is improving in the playoffs. The formula has been all season. 16 carries for whenever you get Derrick Henry 16 carries, they win the football game. 20 plus carries, they win the football game. I think he had 16 or 18, 1 TD. Derrick Henry was good. I'm not on their case as much in this one about running the football because you were losing. Like, it's easy to run the football when you're winning, but you weren't winning. You were losing this football game, so that's why as much You weren't running the football in this one. So I get it why they didn't run as much, but that happens. I mean, that definitely is it. Isaiah Likely was, I thought, they're probably the best receiver on Sunday. Without Zay Flowers, that showed. I think having Zay Flowers really might have been the margin of victory that nobody's talking about. Not having your best receiver on the field. That said, Isaiah Likely was terrific. 4 receptions, 73 yards, 1 TD. Perfect in a game like this where it's cold. He takes a lot of those short passes. He is really turned into the safety valve for Lamar Jackson in a lot of ways. Not a lot of long passes, not a lot of deep stuff. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times he's catching it 3-yard passes, 2-yard passes. He has that separation and take it a long way. Talk about Mark Andrews as well. What people are doing did to Mark Andrews and his girlfriend, trolling him on social media, talking about death threats. There's no place for that nonsense. Nobody should be threatening somebody because he dropped a pass or dropped a football or anything like that. That's just completely uncalled for, that type of behavior. No reason for that at all. No reason for anybody out there to be doing that to Mark Andrews and certainly his family or anything like that. Uncalled for as well. I understand how we felt. I mean, I thought he was the reason we lost here at the end. 2 costly errors, no question about it, but no place for that type of nonsense. Kyle Hamilton, I thought, if Roquan Smith, I think, is the leader of the defense. I think you see it before games now. He's kind of taking Ray Lewis's place of making the impassioned speech, speaking to his team, getting the guys fired up on the sideline. But I think that place might one day be taken by Kyle Hamilton with 9 tackles. He's good anywhere you put him. People talk about, okay, you can use him as a Swiss Army knife in the slot. You can use him at deep corner. You can use him at strong deep. You can use him at corner. You can use him at strong safety. You can use him at free safety. Really doesn't make any difference where you put Kyle Hamilton. He's going to be solid no matter where you put it. So he was outstanding, I think, in this game. Did a really good job, too, I thought, on Josh Allen. Josh Allen was kind of contained for his standards. Now look at the numbers for Josh Allen. 16 of 22. Had good completion percentage. 127 yards. So, like, you think you lose this football game, it would be Josh Allen lighting you up with 300-plus yards passing and all that, etc. Not the case. Josh Allen, a lot of short passes, didn't turn the football over. That was key. That was, I think, a big difference in this one. The Ravens had like 3-4 turnovers in this one. Buffalo didn't have any. So they didn't do a lot. James Cook, decent enough. Again, 16 of 17 carries, 67 yards. Solid day for James Cook. But again, not anything spectacular. I think they, again, did a good enough job on him. They were really keying on the Denver run game a lot in this one. Shakir, I think he's their number 1 receiver going into 2025 and for the rest of the playoffs because they're still in it. 6 for 26, 6 receptions, 76 yards, 67 yards rather. Shakir, I think, is excellent after the catch. I don't think he's a tremendous route runner, but he's excellent after the catch. Similar to what you see, even though he's one's a receiver and one's a tight end and one's a receiver. But Isaiah Likely, you can give him something short, give him something easy, and then he could take it a long way. He's great after the catch. He can do a lot there as well. Damar Hamlin. So I thought the defense, the rush was kind of somewhat contained. I thought the Ravens line has improved all year long. I thought the back end, Damar Hamlin, I thought had their best day. He had 8 tackles. He had 1 sack. They kind of used him in different positions. He kind of is all over the field, similar to what you saw the Ravens were doing with the Kyle Hamilton. Sometimes he's in coverage. Sometimes he's hitting. Sometimes it's in different areas. I do think Matt Milano also was good in this game. I was kind of thinking that was key. In the first game when the Ravens played him, Matt Milano was injured. In this one, he played. It showed. Didn't get ran over by Henry like some people thought. Kind of held his own with the run game. So, Ravens don't win, obviously, 27-25. Bills actually are going forward to the AFC Championship game. Of course, we'll talk about that. Final thoughts on the season. Game of inches. That's the one thing I put on the Twitter feed after the game. It's a game of inches, just like we saw in the movie Any Given Sunday. This was not like last year when they got eliminated by Kansas City, where I think they got out-coached, outplayed, outmaneuvered. I thought definitely John Harbaugh got outmaneuvered by Spagnuolo and Andy Reid. I don't think he was outcoached. I think there was just too many mistakes to win, and that happens. And I think that's kind of what he said in the presser. We'll get to the press conference about it's football, that's the way it goes. I think that's kind of what he meant when he said that. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. Andrews, never seen him play a worse game. Never seen him have a drop in a bad situation like that. An easy drop, a terrible momentum shifting fumble in this one. I've never seen him do that. Lamar with a key fumble. How many times has Lamar spin away from a guy and it didn't happen as well? Threw the ball away, fumble. Not all the way buttoned up enough to win a game in Buffalo in the cold as well. So congratulations to the Bills. I am sincerely hoping they beat Kansas City. I am sick and tired of the Kelsey Taylor Swift stuff. I'm rooting for Buffalo big time this week as the Ravens end their season in the Divisional Round this week. See what I had playing. You see behind the scenes there. Not that. Hold on. Had the Ravens graphic there. All ready to go. 13-5, 16-1. Had the Ravens graphic there. So it's over for the Ravens this season. Now this is our time, you sports nerds, because now we're Ravens and Orioles off season. Now we got those guys out the way. Now we can go ahead and focus on the Ravens. We will still be here every week, just like we've been. Ravens off-season content. We've been doing Orioles off-season content as well. We're going to talk about that as well. So the Ravens and the Orioles in the off-season. Next week, we're going to start talking about Ravens free agents as well. This would be different than the last 2 years in free agency. Before that, we had the Lamar Jackson saga, and last year you had like 20-plus free agents. So this year, not nearly as much. So they're going to key in on a certain area. We're going to go into that as well. End of the year presser from Eric DaCosta and John Harbaugh today out at the Bellagio in Owens Mills. I don't know what happened throughout the years where Steve Bisciotti used to participate in these, and he's kind of stopped doing that now. He doesn't really participate in these end-of-year pressers anymore. I would like to hear from Steve Bisciotti in these, but it's kind of like just evolved into Harbaugh and EDC in these, obviously. Ozzy's semi-retired. That's why you're not seeing Ozzy in them anymore. What was the tone of it? So last year I thought in the presser, John Harbaugh really took a lot of heat after the loss. I've never seen him take so much media heat after the loss. I thought they were much easier on them this year. And they should have been. I thought John Harbaugh this year did better. I saw some things in John Harbaugh that improved. I would always so critical of him of not using bell cow, not running the ball as much as he should, kind of just, well, that's how the game went. No, they were featuring a running back, which was outstanding. I think that's what you do. I think they were looking for a receiver, featuring a receiver. I saw some of that stuff for the first time. I thought he was stubborn on right guard. I don't know what that was with Ben Cleveland and Falele. I don't know what that was. I thought it was stubbornness came in and there. But I think otherwise, I think he was more patient. I think he was more I think the offense was better. I think he was better. I think Lamar was better. So I think that Harbaugh, I think, was better in this. I thought more in this one, though, he was a little more defiant in that fact. Kind of popping his collar a little bit with reporters, defending his positions. They tried to get him to go on and on about how he, how he coached. And, oh, man, that's football, whatever. He was kind of firing back a little bit at report. Not overly aggressive, but definitely not just. Sometimes I've seen him at these end-of-the-year presses where he's kind of just smiling or whatever. Really not that today. He was really kind of defiant, really kind of popping his collar a little bit. Derrick Henry's definitely going to come back. We figured that. His cap number is going to go up. But he was very strong on that. They may do something with the number in the offseason. I would suspect they would as well. John Harbaugh's contract is up after next year. It doesn't sound like he's leaving from what basically was said. I think that's going to get done sooner rather than later. I think they're certainly going to be happy with him. His performance. He said he's friends with Steve Bisciotti. Eric, he didn't really mention it as well because he's in a negotiation, obviously. But I definitely think you're going to have John Harbaugh. Contract is coming back. Non-committal on Ronnie Stanley, I thought, in the presser. I thought Ronnie Stanley was I think a lot of people seem to believe he's going to get signed. I don't. I think definitely Ronnie Stanley is going to probably move on in the offseason. They cut his pay this year, and he's going to be a prize free agent. So the Ravens generally don't get into these bidding things. So I think, honestly, I think he played better than I thought, than they thought. So I don't think they're going to be able to sign him. Brandon Stevens is all but gone. He was pretty much talking about almost in the past tense with Brandon Stevens already. So that's not a sign that they want to go ahead and re-sign the guy. So that'll be interesting as well. Mark Andrews is staying, I think, as well. I think there's some talk of him leaving. I don't think that's going to happen. I think after next year we'll see. I don't think they're going to do anything with Mark Andrews. We're definitely going to have that conversation in the offseason. But even despite the game, I don't think one bad game moves him off of there. Tucker will be back. Tucker was better at the end. I think they were very defending Dustin Tucker during the game, during the offseason, during the presser as well. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them bringing back Justin Tucker. I said on the podcast I would have cut him, but I'm fine. I'm glad that they didn't cut him, and I'm fine that he's staying. Tucker, I think, has been Superman for so long, having looked like a human being. Like, was weird. He was fine down the stretch. I thought the last 5 games, Tuck looked great. I think he definitely straightened himself out. I don't think there'll be a lot different for him. I think they show confidence in him. I think that's okay. When a guy's been so good for so long, that's probably not what I would have done, but that's all right. I think that's fine. I think Tucker may be fine out of all this stuff. I think he's got some work to do in the offseason as he's getting older as well. Definitely, he kick and punt returner in the draft is definitely something they're going to look at for sure. He kind of mentioned that he definitely solidified, hey, we want to do something there. So that kind of like is a red light that they're going to do something in the draft. Pick and punter returner, I definitely think that's a thing that they're going to do going forward. Kick and punt returner. I do think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on O-line. They're going to have to. We're going to get into free agency. Ronnie Stanley, McCary, Cleveland, all may be gone after next year. Rosengarten, kind of somebody asked the question also, one more thing about that kind of I had if Rosengarten could play left tackle. So I think that's something they may look at in the offseason as well. You may be losing Ronnie Stanley. I think it's more likely that maybe he's not around next year. So is that a possibility? He and Eric DaCosta did answer, say, oh yeah, he plays both sides. He can play both sides. He has before as well. So there's the presser. I have it in full. Shameless plug on the Ravery Sports Facebook page and Twitter page. So definitely you can, or X as it's called now. Definitely you could go ahead and look at that in full. The presser is uploaded on there as well. You can hear everything that EDC and John Harbaugh had to say in the end of year presser. All right. Football is not over because we got Championship Sunday, the last multiple game weekend of all year long that we have. 2024, we will know. 2025, 24, see, even early in 2025, we're going to know who's going to be in the Super Bowl after Sunday as well. All right, so divisional round, some games last week. Let me tell you something. One thing I wouldn't have expected at all, if somebody had told me, okay, so we're going to have the Ravens eliminated and the Commanders actually in the championship game, I'd have told you that you're out your mind. But that's what was going to happen. Jaden Daniels is fantastic, say the least. I thought he kind of exposed the Lions defense. Definitely They were good all year long, but they had been losing guys, Hutchinson and all that, etc. So definitely it was a thing. Commanders actually definitely deserve to be in the playoffs, in the championship game. I don't know if they'll prevail, but I can say this: Jalen Hurts better be good as well on Sunday if they're going to win. Also, in the other divisional round game, we mentioned the Eagles did go ahead and win over the Rams. I thought this was really close. I really like the Rams. The Rams are really, quote unquote, buttoned up. They rarely get flags. They never make mistakes like that. They're very well coached. They're disciplined. You never see them get stupid flags, out of position. Very New England-like. I kind of noticed that. Sean McVay, a tremendous coach, and you could see it. They just didn't have enough horsepower as well. I think the Eagles are as good as any team as far as the roster as I've seen right now. I don't think there's any question about it. Top, best running back in the league. You have outstanding all-pro wide receiver Pro Bowl wide receiver duo. Good tight end. Offensive line is fantastic. Defensive line, a little young. Zach Braun is playing terrific. So they should be the team to win in the NFC with their roster that they have. And also to the other game in the AFC, the Texans and the Chiefs. I'm sick of the Chiefs. I got to tell you, stop with the refs. Everybody's saying the Chiefs are getting all the calls from the refs. It's Mahomes getting the calls. Whenever you have a great player like that, that's what refs do. And they certainly do it at home. When you have a great player, I watched Michael Jordan travel for 15 years in the NBA because they wouldn't call it. Kobe Bryant got away with the elbows. Mahomes, he gets away with those. Anytime you get a late hit, they call it. Brady used to get it too. So that's definitely true. Texans, not quite. Not quite. Not that far away. Their line is terrible. They need a lot of work on their line. All right. NFC Championship game. The Commanders and the Eagles. Who would have thought this at the beginning of the year? Washington is going to play in Philly. I'm sure it's going to be cold. Philly. Short drive for the fans if you can get a ticket in Washington, and for Washington fans driving up to Philly. Eagles, I think, should win this game. I don't think there's any question about it. Jalen Hurts, I don't love Jalen Hurts. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, but I think he's at the bottom of the top 10. I don't think he is up there with Lamar and Allen and Mahomes and those guys. I think he's like the next tier down below Justin Herbert and those guys. I think what he does very well. Doesn't throw outside the numbers well, but he's pinpoint inside the numbers. He's got great speed. He kind of runs between the tackles very well. Actually gets the short yards very well. So he doesn't do a lot, but he does it well. And plus he's got a tremendous roster around him. I actually do like Sirianni more than a lot of guys do. I think there's something in life called winning and losing. All right? And this guy can't be this dumb winning all these games. I don't care how good your roster is. You can't be this successful as he's been and then have it all be just it doesn't work like that, in my opinion. I think the Commanders are here because of Jaden Daniels, period. I think they have an excellent young quarterback. I think he might be already the best quarterback in the NFC. The poise of him is fantastic. Usually a guy, a rookie quarterback, doesn't have this type of poise. I saw it last year with C.J. Stroud. I'm seeing it this year with Jaden Daniels. Tremendous poise. I don't think he's got enough here. I think the Eagles' defense is going to be too much. Jalen Carter, they're going to come. I like the Eagles in this one. And the main event, the Bills and the Chiefs for all the marbles in the AFC. Looks familiar, right? Let me tell you something. Bills, I think, have earned this. Definitely. Only team in the regular season to beat the starting team of the Chiefs all season. Only team beat them in the regular season earlier this year. came very close to beating them last year as well. They were the number 2 seed. So can Josh Allen get over the hump and beat Kansas City? Can he go ahead and kill the beast? No. As much as I'm rooting for it. To be objective, I think the Chiefs are very, very, very good. They're not, I think everybody keeps focusing on the fact that the receivers and all that aren't as good as they were, which is true. They're not as good offensively, but they're very good. Very good defensively. Mahomes, I think he's not getting those long passes like he once was, but he's very efficient. DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, etc. The interior line, I think, is outstanding. I think they're very good. The Bills' defense, I think it was a bit of a tell how well Lamar played. Now this week, you know it's going to be a lot of death by 1,000 cuts, a lot of long passes and things like that. I do like the Chiefs at home. And fans are not wrong about the Chiefs and the calls. I think you can't blame refs for a game, though. Bills have a shot to win this game. They have the talent to win this game, but I think it's the Chiefs winning it at home. There you go. So, Championship Sunday is coming. One of the best days of the football year for me. The last day for me as a fan. Pure games. Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday is a spectacle. It's whoever at halftime and who's in the stands and celebrities and all that stuff. I got no use for that. My wife likes stuff like that. I got no use for that. But people do like it. I'm not. I'm just more of the pure football fan there, and so Championship Sunday is the Sunday I like. All right, moving on. We had a championship game on Sunday, on Monday nights. The college football championship, Notre Dame and Ohio State. So the Fighting Irish were the Buckeyes won the national championship over the Fighting Irish as well. I don't think I got that score right there. Let me get the right score up. It was 34-23. Notre Dame losing to Ohio State in this one as well. Let's get it up there. There you go. 34-23. Ohio State, the 8th seed, starting the tournament against Notre Dame, the 7th seed. Buckeyes were successful in this one as well. Will Howard, I thought, was much better, than I thought he was. I think definitely, I thought it was a big loss in the offseason because Kyle McCord was really solid all season long for them last year. And they bring in a guy, played at K-State, kind of a small school guy, and he was really good, I thought. So Kyle McCord, last year, Will Howard, I think, did everything he could. Definitely big, tall guy, more of a traditional passer, steady. All the pro stuff I don't know, but I thought he was outstanding to get him all the way through, getting a grad degree as well. Great stuff by Will Howard. Kushan Junkins, 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 TDs. This running back group of Ohio State was fantastic. Travion Henderson is one of my favorite running backs, and even he couldn't outrush Junkins as a runner. 100 yards in this game, scored 2 TDs. The Buckeyes really, the tradition of Ohio State, power game, run the football, that was absolutely on display here. 2 outstanding running backs as well. This guy, oh baby, Jeremiah Smith. Let me tell you, it is like one of the best college receivers I saw was Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy is just so fluid, so big, so strong, tall, only 18 years old. A true freshman, just showing. It was kind of like one name I always remember in sports was Chris Webber when he was a freshman at Michigan. You can see it. He's a man right away. You can see it with Jeremiah Smith. He's a man right away. No real answer for him as well. This guy's going to get picked in the first round. JT Thibodeau, I definitely think Ravens may be looking at him in the draft. I think a lower first round. That pass rush duo they had is fantastic. I thought the Irish really had trouble. Really, the Big Ten teams really hit you in the mouth with this one. Game effort, I thought, from Riley Leonard. I think there's nothing cooler than Riley Leonard watching him play. Definitely doesn't have the talent, maybe of a early first round or anything like that, but he's got what they used to say, moxie. He's got guts. He's got a lot of heart. That's why I liked seeing a Riley Leonard play. Definitely, he was the main reason they had any shot in this game. 22 for 31, 255, 2 TDs, 18 carries, 70 yards. He had 1 TD in this one rushing, so he did his thing running and passing. Just didn't get enough help. This is kind of what you see here. Jeremiah Love, their leading rusher, 1,000 yards, 4 carries, 3 yards. So they couldn't get their more running backs going. They couldn't get it more traditionally going. Jaden Greenhouse from Notre Dame, the sophomore, 6 carry, one of the best games I've seen him have all season long. 6 receptions, 128, 2 TDs. Decent. I thought there was definitely a talent difference between the wide receivers, the running backs of Notre Dame and Ohio State. I think that was the difference, and that's what played out on the field. They just didn't have the thunder to match 2 sacks for Joseph Brand. I thought he was really the guy that really put the pressure on the quarterback of Ohio State, Will Howard, but I wasn't consistent enough. I think it was in spots, too much talent. So congratulations to Ryan Day. You can stop being mad at Ryan Day, Buckeye fans, in this one, because they went ahead and won the national championship. It's funny how that can change the narrative for them. Here's a guy who had a tough job. He took over for Urban Meyer, was kind of the assistant, and now he has won his own national championship. So congratulations to the national champion, Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's talk Terps. So Terps basketball, let's go ahead and talk about that. Now the graphic says we're going to talk about the game tomorrow with Maryland and Illinois. They got jerked around in the game against Northwestern. I don't care what anybody says. I saw it. That was a travel at the end by the kid from Northwestern in that one. Now, they made the great shot at the last second. That was good. I really appreciate that. But they got jerked at the end. That was a terrible, terrible non-call of the travel as well. So, 14-5. Terps did actually win on Sunday at Nebraska at home. So, it was very good stuff by them actually winning that game as well. So definitely check that out. So this week, let's go ahead. They're going to go down to Champaign, Illinois, and play the Illinois Fighting Illini, who are in the top 25, and rightfully so. Derek Queen, fantastic. He's not scoring great every night, not every game. That's okay. Derek Queen is playing well some nights. Most nights you're seeing a little bit more. He's having some monster nights and then not as much or whatever. I think some nights I think he can get it what he wants. I think in some games he's just deferring. In some games as well. I do think, look, for a freshman, my position stands with Derek Queen. He's sensational. 15.8 a game, 8.1 rebounds. That was of earlier this week. I don't know if that's the current stat line, but it's right there. I think Derek Queen is fantastic. Rodney Rice, I do think he has been quite as good lately. I think that's kind of been it. This team is not as good on the road. He's much better at home. Much better at home. So they're not quite as good on the road. So definitely that's a thing. But I definitely think Rodney Rice, excellent spot-up shooter. I think definitely hitting the 3 ball, this is definitely his thing. The standstill 3, that's absolutely great. I think this is your second best player on the team, Jacoby Gillespie. He can go through the lanes, slash, cut, create. They really don't have a point guard as well. But definitely Gillespie is going to be the guy to go ahead and get squared away. I think definitely, too, had his career high points the other night, 27 points. If there's no Queen in this game, this is the guy he's deferring to as well. Outstanding stuff. The other two starters are really good for Maryland as well. Julian Reese, I think, has been really good. I think he's an outstanding piece of meat and potatoes. And I think Seton McGill kind of fell off a bit, kind of like the fifth guy. Much better, I thought, recently as well. Now, hopefully I say his name right. Kasparis Giannakonis from Illinois. I don't think he played in the last game against Michigan State, but I think he's really good. Definitely great handles as well. Great spot-up shooter as well. That's it. This is the new modern basketball player, a guy of size and ability to go ahead and handle the ball. Kind of like, I don't want to say Luka Doncic to that level, but not quite. But definitely a guy, definitely has a shot to be drafted in the NBA draft. Definitely that type of talent. In the back line, Callum Braswell. This is the guy handling the ball in the more traditional sense. 11.8 points a game, 4 assists per game. He's the guy that's handling the ball, that's actually in the backcourt getting squared away. More traditional backcourt player for them as well. And the big guy, 13.8 points a game. Definitely he stands out when you watch the game. He's the guy that's their size. They're basically playing boxing one type 4 against 5. I won't say 4 against 5, but they're playing like basically 4 guards in the center. So definitely that's what they're doing as well. So this guy's standing out 13.8 points a game. It's going to be very much fun to watch him against Derek Queen. I guess I was supposed to say Maryland should win. I think they have a better shot in this Sunday game against Indiana. Thursday, I don't think they'll win this game. They are not doing well, I don't think, against teams on the road. I like to see Queen a little better in the key situations and clutch situations. See Jacob Gillespie kind of taking the reins a bit. That's kind of the thing. So we will see about that. But I think definitely it'll be interesting to watch games on FS1, 9 o'clock Thursday, where you got the Fighting Illini against the Terps. There you go. All right. So definitely check that out. You're missing out if you're missing Terps basketball. I mean, these games have been outstanding. Just from me watching, following the channel, these games are much more entertaining, much more fun to watch. Go ahead. Now we're on. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's go over this as we shift to baseball here. We're going to do our narrative here. Top 10 second baseman in 2025. So definitely we're going to go over that. We've been doing our top 10 list. And we're going to do it today here, the top 10 second baseman here in 2025. So we're definitely going to go ahead and get that squared away. Now, who are the best in the league at this position? There's always separation on these lists for me. There's always guys that are at the top, like any list, top 10, and these guys, there's a little separator. So I always get to the separator as well. Defense, I always say this used to be more of a defensive position. Now we're focusing more on offense nowadays at this position. Guys hitting higher, a lot of bigger guys at this position. Used to have guys like Frank Wright and Frank White and Bill Ripken. Guys, just all defense. Now, not as much of that nowadays. Offense as well. Funny I say that, and we start with the defense. Andres Gimenez, definitely the Gold Glove winner. See him there with the Guardians, now with the Blue Jays. This is totally a nod to his defensive prowess. I think no question about it, he is the best defender on the list here definitely wherever he goes. I think the Blue Jays signed him in the offseason. Definitely a guy you're signing for his glove. Definitely a guy is going to give you gold glove second base play. Going to give you some offense. I don't think he's bad offensively, but this is what you're signing him for. I think definitely you could put him in the top 10 because he's so good defensively. Ha-Seong Kim, last year with the Padres, still unsigned. I think he's the top 10 wherever he signs. I think he might sign with Boston or New York or whatever it is. He might sign with them. I definitely like him offensively. This is more already starting the list as well. I'm surprised he doesn't have a team. I thought he might have signed with the Dodgers, but I definitely think, well, everybody else is signing with the Dodgers. We'll get to that. But Kim, I think, is a good offensive player as well. I think he has great value at second. He could play other positions, but I think somebody signs him at second, they're going to have great value there. Here's a young guy, Luis Garcia Jr. for the Nationals. The Nationals, these guys are coming up. Luis Garcia, Dylan Cruz. Their minor league system is starting to bear fruit. A couple years losing, the rebuild is coming to an end. This guy is a fantastic hitter. I think his power is going to surprise people. This guy definitely can hit 20 home runs, 25 home runs going forward. Definitely tremendous power going forward. This even might be rating him a little low, but it's because it's a bit of a projection. But I love his upside. Love his swing. Love his upside. Luis Garcia Jr. A guy who's going to... This is about right. Byron Scott. Definitely, you could argue he was the best second baseman in the National League last year for the Phillies. I don't think he's a stud in terms of getting better, but definitely, hey, look, good numbers. 15, 25 home runs, 75, 85 RBIs, average around 270. Not a great defender. From what I can see, he looks a little like John Cena, like a little mechanical, like robot at times. But decent enough as well. But definitely offensive production, definitely good protection in a good Phillies lineup. Number 7, the Brewers, Bryce Trang. I think this is a guy like Garcia can be higher than this. Like his bat. This is definitely a guy defensively, but I definitely you see him there, fist up. I think that's kind of like my image of him a lot. Very good situational hitter. I see that a lot. Not always great all the time, but great situationally, decent defensively. I think the ceiling is higher for him, but I think he really good. This guy, more offense. Gleyber Torres, last year with the Yankees, now with the Tigers. I think he's going to get every opportunity with the Tigers. I think that's actually a good move for him. Actually, he's going to get a chance now to be one of their main offensive players for them. Torres can hit. I think he's not good on defense. But I don't think they care. This is a guy who definitely has, in my opinion, he's got potential to really hit 25, 30 home runs, that type of offensive potential. Good offensive player. I really like him there in Detroit. I think the shorter porch in Detroit is interesting for him, so I definitely like Gleyber Torres. Ozzie Albies. Ozzie, I think, is an outstanding player. The last season wasn't his best season. I thought a lot of the Braves had injury and all that stuff. The Braves have the model I'd love to see the Orioles adapt. They didn't sign a lot of players in the offseason, but what they did was they locked up a lot of their guys long-term. A long-term deal for Olsen, long-term deal for Austin Riley, long-term deal for Murphy, long-term deal for Albies. I think he's got a great ceiling. I think he's just got to get his mind right at times. I think he's the only thing, head not in the game at times, not running out ground balls, sometimes he looks good on defense, sometimes he look like crap on defense. But I think Albies, is outstanding. Down year for this fantastic hitter, Trent Marcus Semien. Kind of the same copy-paste what I just said with the Braves, with the Rangers. I think they kind of had a World Series hangover, didn't play as well, kind of unfocused. So his numbers were down. He wasn't as good last year, but I like Semien. Semien, I think, will bounce back. Towards the end of the year, we kind of saw more of the Semien battling injuries as well, but he's outstanding. A little older now, too, over 30-ish. So a little bit of but I think if he is what we've seen, he's definitely number 3. Jose Altuve's got to get old at some point, right? He is definitely the engine of the Astros. And of all the trading moving, this is not who they're going to move. This is their heart and soul guy. Jose Altuve, outstanding in the field, outstanding at the plate. Not tremendous power, but definitely great power for his size. He's going to hit around 300. He's going to be great defensively, and he's going to be the leader of his team. So definitely there's everything to like about Jose Altuve as an offensive player. I think the Astros, I think when they move him, that's when you'll see the opportunity of them moving back to the pack. But they have Altuve there. Absolutely, he's their heart and soul in the engine. And number one, this wasn't close. Kendall Marte, if you haven't heard. Marte, his numbers were fantastic. Look, Corbin Carroll, not as good as they had hoped. Maybe last year kind of came on. I think that the D-backs are an elite team. This is one of the reasons Kendall Marte, Corbin Carroll, and they signed Corbin Burns in the offseason. Marte, I think, could be an MVP of the National League. Tremendous power at the plate. I don't have any question about what this guy's going to do. He's kind of one of these guys. He's always been kind of on these obscure teams. Like had he been in New York or been in Los Angeles or whatever, I think more people would talk about him. But Marte, outstanding, easy choice for best second baseman in the MLB. There you go. So we're going to have this on our Twitter page, social media tomorrow, the top 10 second basemen going into 2025. Couple things real quick. It's official now. Anthony Santander is no longer Baltimore Oriole. He signed with the Blue Jays this week. So good for him. Anthony Santander was the longest tenured Baltimore Oriole that we had. So now I think it's Cedric Mullins. I think it's been with us the longest now since 2018. That's like 7 years. Santander had been with the organization his whole career. So good for him. Blue Jays finally got one. I think this is good for him. I think it's good for Toronto. As quiet as it's kept. When a guy hits 40-plus home runs, it's good to have in your lineup. You could put him right there with right behind Vlad Guerrero. You could hit him anywhere in the order. He's definitely great in the outfield. I definitely think the sabermetric nerds kind of don't like a Santander because the offensive metrics aren't there. Strikes out a lot. OPS isn't, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm old school in the sense, give me some old-fashioned home runs and RBIs. You know he's going to give it to you. And I think he's kind of shed the label of being frail. Had a lot of injuries throughout the course of his career. More recent years, healthier, playing better. So good signing for the Blue Jays as well. Good for Anthony Santander. Really no spot for him on the Orioles this year after the signing of Tyler O'Neill. Dodgers signing all the players. Good way to put the segment. They signed Tanner Scott. They signed Kirby Yates. Look, stop complaining about the Dodgers signing all the players. Sick and tired of it. Stop saying that, signing all the players. If they're signing all the players, then there's something else going on with the rest of the 29 teams. Like a lot of these teams with low money, you're getting $69 million a year on average from all the TV networks, just from TV money. Before you put it back to glove, you're getting $69 million from the combined ESPN, Turner, Fox package. $69 million in national TV revenue. So most teams are getting that, even though I think that's in flux with the whole Bally Sports thing that's going on. Let's say you're even getting that locally. I think about half the teams are getting that. About another 50 million, 60 million. Obviously, the Dodgers, Mets, they're blowing out the water with more than that. But spend the money. Stop saying that they don't have any money. You can't spend $400 million, $500 million, $600 million like a lot of these teams. No, you can't. Maybe you don't have that. But you certainly have $100+ million in TV revenue that you could spend. That's a lot of money you can spend on players. That's before you get gate. That's before you get concessions. That's before you sell the zillion bobbleheads. That's before you do any of that. Tanner Scott could have signed with the Marlins. That's just not how baseball thinks sometimes. See, their payroll's like $42 million. They couldn't have been in on that. I mean, what is that? I mean, so I don't think because of the TV revenue for a lot of teams, a lot of them are connected with Bally Sports, Diamond Sports, that a lot of that's going away for them. So they're a little nervous about making contracts, which is why you see the Dodgers signing 3 closers and 3 aces and all that. They're the team that's making all the bidding. I think that is what's going on. So I see a lot of fans mad about that. The salary cap, you could be mad about it all you want, but that's not on them. You're supposed to, I mean, life is like you don't just, there are winners and losers. There are people that bid, spend the money. Orioles have chosen to be conservative. David Rubenstein is worth $20 billion to $30, whatever it is. Come on. So if they're signing all the players, then, that's again, I'm not against a cap in baseball at all, but all this, well, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Well, they don't have to do it. You can sign some of these guys. You can do it, So there you go. Fantasy baseball predictions for the Orioles. So for those of you that out there that play fantasy baseball, what we used to call back in the day rotisserie baseball, we're going to take our Orioles conversation here. For those of you out there playing fantasy, how are the Orioles, what you should do drafting wise as far as with fantasy baseball. Now with this, I went ahead and took what I actually do with fantasy baseball, 10-team league, auto draft league, where you go around to the teams and draft, and we have to draft each player. So how are the Orioles in particular, if you're looking at Baltimore Orioles in particular in fantasy baseball, how do you think the Orioles are going to do as well? So the Orioles, here's your starting group here for the Orioles. Adley Rutschman. Adley, I think, would have been higher last year. I think some people with the projections on Adley might have had him in the top 15, top 20. So I don't think he's that high. I think you're like in the 5th or 6th round, top 50 player. If you're adding up catchers, if you're looking at that position, he's a top 3 catcher. I think definitely William Contreras and probably Cal Raleigh as far as fantasy. That's it. Adley is definitely top shelf as far as that goes. Ryan Mountcastle, is he still going to be with the Orioles? This is going to be much later. I think his value actually might be higher if he gets traded. I don't think he's going to get traded between opening day. But he's definitely over 200, 17, 18. Definitely a guy you pick up in the later rounds. I don't think you pick him early. He's going to be splitting with O'Hearn, kind of the same. I think it depends. I think O'Hearn's like 15, 16. I think that's not a bad pick, 15, 16 round. Definitely, again, over 200. Getting both would be a good idea. Because a lot of times they're going to split as well. O'Hearn's going to hit against the righties, Mountie against the lefties. I think, but they're later rounds, guys, you can look at later. Jackson Holliday's very interesting. Very interesting. How much do you believe in Jackson Holliday? I'm not overly sure he's going to be on the opening day roster for sure. So I'm going later with Jackson. I don't see him high on a lot of the draft boards. I think 17th, 18th. I think if you have a keeper league and you can still do it, I think it still might be worth doing it. Because I think definitely we all think he's going to be a star at some point. But over 200 early, if it's a standard league, it's about 17th or 18th as far as overall positions way down. But I think if you have a keeper league, he might be worth. Here's a guy I have much higher value on than the traditional Jordan Westburg. Third base is a good position for him. I think he's top 10 of the third baseman that you want to pick, about 90 to 100. I've seen him later than that, but if you're picking Jordan Westburg in a draft in the top 70, 80, I got no problem with that. Definitely what he's done. Already made an all-star team, so that's not a bad pick. Guys here late as well. Outfielders, they're kind of all the same. 10th or 11th round, 10th, 11th round, Cedric Mullins, Colton Cowser, and Tyler O'Neill. Yeah, they're going to start in the outfield for you. I think Mullins, I think, is probably the one I'd be the most bearish on. Cowser might be the one the most bullish on. Cowser, I think the ceiling with him, he's probably going to start for you in right field. I think he might be a guy kind of like Holiday where you take him lower and it really pays dividends for you. So right around the 10th, 11th round as well. As far as outfielders, definitely in the 300s as well. But I definitely think that there's a guy like Cowser you definitely have a good upside with as well. Tyler O'Neill's a good pick for this year as well. I think probably he's going to be the most productive offensively of these guys if he can stay healthy. And Kobe Mayo, I think if you have a keeper league, if you keep guys, definitely you got to look at Kobe Mayo in the long term with those as well. No real big studs pitching as far as that goes. Last year you had Corbin Burns, so you had early 7th or 8th round for Grayson Rodriguez and Eflin. I think Eflin is about 81-ish. Grayson, I have a little more faith. I really like Grayson. I think it is a bit of a gamble there as far as that. Hi, Dad. It's Alani. Hi, Dad.
Wow.
There you go. Anyway, Alani's in the stream there. That's my daughter since she wants to be in the stream there. All right. Also, Grayson and Zach Eflin that's about 7th, 8th round. Dean Kramer is a little bit later, 12, 13. I think he's a solid starter, so I don't think you're going to be, and you're really taking a shot with Charlie Morton and Sagano. I think that's definitely later. I think definitely you pick a pitching roster and then you pick those guys later. I definitely think that's the truth there with those guys. So definitely that's what you do with those guys there. The star of it, I think, is Felix Bautista. If you want a closer, little bit of an issue, obviously, with Felix because he didn't pitch at all last year. He sat out summer 2023 at the end, didn't pitch at all in 2024. But Felix, I think, might be a great love his vid. Sub to him, please, y'all, please. Yeah, there you go, Lonnie. All right.
Lonnie, stop.
And 8th, 9th round for Felix Bautista. I think definitely we all know how good Felix Bautista is. If we can get, I think some people are assuming he's not going to be great anymore. But it's definitely a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Maybe only once you start picking closer's kind of like kicker in football. Once they start going, they start going. And so the top, of course, is going to be Emmanuel Clase at the top there. Maybe a Josh Hader. Batista's right there, I think, 3rd, 8th, or 9th round. Definitely worth it, I think, to take a shot on Bautista because you might get the most saves in your league. There you go. All right. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Ravery Sports Podcast this week. Definitely check us out for our podcast next week. Off-season NFL content as well, so definitely check that out going forward. You guys have a great week. Thank you, and y'all have a great day.